Very moving. It was very moving. I felt all the pain that little boy was feeling. We've all been there, haven't we? And Stephen has been amazingly encouraging to Intuitive Media over the years. And rightly so. He didn't mention that MySpace recently admitted that 29,000 of its members are convicted sexual offenders. And what about those are the stupid ones, aren't they? They're the ones who gave their names. What about the rest? Well, I've been invited here to talk to you about Intuitive Media's research into how children use their mobile phones and devices. And to put it in a context, this is research as part of a research and development program we've been carrying out for probably now 2 years, which has resulted in the Community in My Pocket project. That's Community on Your PSP. We've got a bit of an unfair advantage at Intuitive Media because we have 120,000 kids, real kids, kids we know. They're online every day. And they tell us exactly what they want every single day. They tell us what they really, really want. So our job of responding and knowing what kids want is a bit easier than maybe some of yours. You often have to guess what kids want and hope you get it right. But today I'd like to share some of our learning with you, particularly on the way children use their mobiles. So our journey, observing children, researching them, developing for them, refining our developments, and then repeat the process. That's what we're doing all the time. This journey started in July 2006, when we noticed through our system logs that a number of children, we have 120,000 members, about, well, maybe 10% of them were accessing Superclubs Plus, our primary community, and Gold Star Cafe, our secondary community, with a mobile device. And we thought, aha, perhaps this is something that the kids want to do. So we did some research, which we reported here last year, in October 2006, onto kids' access to and use of mobile devices. And then we, on the back of that, we were very encouraged. We launched a pilot Community in My Pocket that was bet last year. And now, 1 year later, we repeated the research for this event to see what had happened, what had changed, what trends there might be to report to you. And in January 2008, we will be launching Community in My Pocket, the full thing. So it's beyond the pilot, it's really happening. The children, they're rigorously authenticated. We know they're real children. The only way to get into our communities is a teacher applies to join. We check it's a real teacher by a very, very sophisticated method. We talk to them on the phone. We've talked to 13,000 teachers. We know they're real. They then nominate the children. We know the children are real. So these are real children, members of our communities. In the sample we polled in October last year was 1,477 children, so quite a big sample. And this year it was, in fact, over 2,000 children. Demographically, they're broadly representative of the UK as a whole. We did some work with Ipsos Mori a little while ago and checked really where our kids are coming from. And in terms of location, gender, ethnicity, etc., they're broadly representative. And this particular research was mainly from an online survey and community analysis. This is where our kids are from, pretty well all over the UK, a little bit light in Wales, but they're coming to love us. In 2006, we had, these are the children who did the survey. In 2006, 62% of those children were girls. Now this year, 57% were girls. And the age range, there's the range of children from year 4 up to year 8. Showing you the profile of the children we sampled. Superclubs Plus, I'm not going to go on about this, there's another time to do it, but it's an online community for kids where they can create their own home pages, email each other, take part in forums, and it's dedicated to learning activity. And that is now, they move on after Superclubs Plus. When they left Superclubs, they normally leave at 11 in this country, 12 in Scotland, and we found the children were telling us there was nowhere safe to go to afterwards. So we created Gold Star Cafe for the children, which accommodates them up to the age of 13. Okay, let's look at mobile phone ownership. This is very much a preview. This research is not yet published. In June 2006, 54% of our children said, I own a mobile phone. That went up last year, October 2006, to 72. This year, 75. So there seems to be a levelling a levelling out happening now. Here's the age of adoption. So year 4 children, 53% own a phone. Peaks at year 7 in our sample, goes down a little after that. Not much change in those 2 years. So overall, the numbers have gone up. As you see, year 6 has gone up a little. Year 8 has gone up a little, but not a great deal of change. And the gender take-up, girls are slightly ahead of boys in ownership of phones. Safety and autonomy, first thing we are interested in is safety, but we ask the children who pays the bill. Whoever pays the bill has got some sort of control. And in 2006, 44% said their parents, but 33% said they pay themselves. And of course, I hadn't realised they're paying as you go, and they're capable of going into a shop and topping up. We hadn't realised that. But in 2007, we asked a slightly more sophisticated question, and we found that 20 pay entirely themselves, and 21% share the cost, they say. Stephen talked about the mobile device is unsupervised, and last year 47% of children said they use their phone in private. Interestingly, that's gone down this year. They seem not to be doing that. I don't know how much we can read into it, but it's just interesting. We asked them what rules their parents gave them, and we've huge amount of research on this. I can only pick out a couple. I'm not allowed to text people every day. I'm not allowed to bring my phone to school. I have to bring my phone wherever I go out of school in case of an emergency or accident. So very much seen as an emergency help device. Only allowed to spend £1 a week, so I don't have to waste credit, or if something happens, I don't have enough credit to phone my parents. Money was very important for the parents. Do children get abusive messages? Yes, last year and this year, about the same figure. About 17% of our children said they've had an abusive message. I got a message on an emergency phone once saying, "Do you want coffee? I'm just round the corner." But I didn't know who it was from. Or another one, some stranger sent me porn once, never found out who. I got rude messages and videos, but I told my mum. I got told someone was going to kill me if I didn't give them 10,000. I don't know what that is, pounds or whatever, I don't know. So I went to my parents and tracked the people down by calling the police. Bad messages, 17% of children are getting bad messages. Interestingly, we find our children using Superclubs Plus, there's an email client on there, so they can email to each other through the mobile. They're telling us that that's just the same as text, because it's coming back if the friend's there, it's coming back pretty quickly. And one parent said, I prefer her, my daughter, to use SCP, Superclubs Plus, email instead of texting, so I know she's talking to real kids, and the mediators who look after the children are checking what's said. We asked what other technology do children have apart from phones. Huge rise in PC ownership in the sample over the year, and Mac is creeping up as well there. Adrian Hall this morning talked about this research and the handheld, so I'm not going to go into the handheld device in any detail. Who do children phone? When do they phone? Well, mostly they phone their friends. That hasn't changed much over the last 2 years. They phone their parents more often than we do, probably. A lot of children said people can call me, but I can't call them, so there's a block on their phones. That hasn't changed. And we asked them where... Sorry, I missed one. When do you call? We really wanted to know where, but the way to ask it was when, and most of the calls at the weekends and the evenings. A year ago, 5% of children said they used the phone at school, at playtime. This year, 7%. Very little change. Schools are not allowing kids in with phones. They're not adopting this technology. What else do they do with their phones? What do they like to do most? Text. The most popular thing is text, and you see not a great deal of change, a slight rise there. Send emails in their Superclubs accounts and visit the Superclubs forums, quite a lot of them now doing that. Audiovisual, ringtones have really taken off in the last year, from 25% to 37%. And interestingly, a lot more children are buying them. Last year the kids said very clearly to us, we want everything and we're not paying. This year, they haven't told us that so strongly, they are paying. Music, really taken off, from 29% sharing music by Bluetooth last year to 45%. That, by the way, is highly illegal. And when that hit the newspapers last year, there was a huge furore from the music industry. And we said to them, don't worry, let the kids give away your music. They'll only go and buy more. They're getting to grips with that. Pictures, going up, taking pictures, sending pictures, downloading them, and even buying them. Video, taking video. The children do download video. It's gone up from 17 to 26%. But most of the children say, I want to play with my own video. I want to show what's happening in my world. I'm not interested so much in the YouTube world. Playing games, a steady rise there from 39 to 43%. Children playing games on their mobile phones. They're downloading them more, and they're paying for them. And the last one, I should say, play games with strangers. That would be the multi-user games that children are playing, and that's doubled in the last year. By the way, most of the multi-user environments do not have mediation, and anyone can be in there talking to anyone, and there are problems in those environments. What do they spend on phone services? Very little change, a very slight increase, but 20% of the children spend between £1 and £5 a month on those ringtones and pictures and so on. 5% spend between £5 and £10 a month, and the same number spend over £10 a month. So there's a lot of money in those pockets, and I think industry is starting to understand that children on their mobiles have a buying power. Those are small percentages, but just multiply that up. How do they see the future of mobile phones? And it's been interesting to listen to some of our industry colleagues yesterday telling us about 2012 and what they think children will want, or out of the mouths of babes, some similar things. I think I'd wish the internet was free on your phones, so you could play Nintendo DS games, and I'd love that. I want to be able to Skype. I want to go on proper internet that you have on computer, so you could go on Superclubs Plus. I wish I could watch television. I wish you had a telescope so you could see the stars and the planets. I wish you could see the person you're talking to or texting. That's come up, probably 50% of the children said, I want to see the person I'm talking to. And a lot of them said, because it's safer. I know it's who it should be. I wish you could write your solo talk, because sometimes you have to do a solo talk over the weekend, but you're sometimes away, and it would make it easier. You could do it in the car. Lovely. I'll move on from that. Our pilot, then, we did our research back in 2006, found that the children wanted to go online. We then took what was a web application to mobile, and just a few things we learned there. You don't just shrink it to fit it. You've really got to think about what is relevant on a mobile. So, for instance, the children changed the online email on a mobile. They've changed it into text. That's what they do with it. They text with it. So they changed the whole nature of the service that we're offering. Navigation has to be friendly, and display is good, and so on. Data entry, if they're actually entering an email or a forum entry, then they've got to have the ability to do that. Not all devices make that easy. PSPs are awful for entering text. Nintendo DS is great. So we converted Superclubs, and this is the homepage of Superclubs, and you can see what it looks like on the mobile, on the PDA at least. Here's the page that says who's on, where the kids go to find their friends. There's 616 kids on, and on the little device it has to be just a text list. The forums are displayed a little bit differently, and the entry into the forum again displayed differently. Very practical. Kids use it. It works. Here's the email client. There's the email in list, and here's an email compose screen. And it works fine. So 1 year on, do the children really, really want mobile social networking? Well, the first thing is, are they accessing the computer on their mobiles? Because if they can't do that, they can't get the networking. Answer yes, that's gone up from 30 to 36%. Do those children who do access internet on their mobiles want to visit Superclubs Plus or Gold Star Cafe? Answer yes, 42% are doing that, which is huge in Superclubs Plus. Gold Star Cafe only really launched in July 2007, and there are only 30,000 children in there. They just moved up from Superclubs Plus, but again 13%. But interesting who's coming second and third, isn't it? Bebo is still in there. And the kids are going to Bebo illegally. They're all under 13. They're not mediated. They're not protected, but they're going. Google, YouTube, and MSN. Well, what do the teachers and the parents think of all this? LTS, Scotland, commissioned Survey Digital, get them right, to do an independent survey of all the teachers using Superclubs Plus in Scotland, and the results just came back a couple of weeks ago. Teachers said, 92% of teachers said, using the social learning network has changed the way they teach. It's quite an admission. 98% said it's had a high impact on children's learning, and 100% said it's had a high impact on children's interest in learning. And there's some more results from that research. So basically, yes, children are happy there, teachers are happy there, and parents too. Nearly all parents believe that use of the service improves their child's interest in learning. And 84% says Superclubs raise their child's attainment and encourage parents to collaborate with their children on schoolwork. So what needs to improve to make this even better? What stops children getting on the internet? Oh, okay, 36% were getting on. What about the rest that weren't? What's stopping them? 27% say, I don't want to. I don't want to go on my mobile. I'm okay, I've got my laptop or whatever. 24% is too expensive. My parents stopped me, say 12%, and usually because of safety. I don't have a browser, there's no Wi-Fi on the phone, it's too damn difficult, or there's no Wi-Fi at home. So technical reasons come actually further down the line, but expense and safety are the two highest. So what do we need? Well, an inhibitor is cost. We want affordable access. Inhibitor is safety. We want children and parents and teachers to know that there are safe destinations out there that children will be looked after. We want a browser that's fully functional. We want Wi-Fi access. Well, no, it's not enough, is it? It doesn't work a lot of the time. It doesn't work everywhere, but we want 3G plus Wi-Fi. What we need is what we're calling rapid. Rapid is really affordable personal internet device. And while my industry is here, I appeal to you to work on this. Some people are getting towards it, but I've not seen it yet. It's going to be less than £99. I was a head teacher of a primary school. If you could give me this device, I would have bought one for every single child. And I'd have been quite happy if it was a little bit, it didn't have to be too rugged. If they dropped it, I'd have it insured, I'd buy another one. But I want this device. It's just to get on the internet. 90% of what I'd want to do in the classroom now is on the internet. The other 10% I need a PC for, but the rest of it, I just need a device to get me on the internet. I want a touch screen, big enough to use all day, not that big. That's okay to use sometimes, but big enough to use all day. I want Wi-Fi and affordable 3G. I want a full browser. I want child-safe destinations, creative and safety. I want simple tools so that when they upload their photos or they want to draw a picture, I just want some simple tools to do that. I don't need huge memory. Everything's going to be online. The kids, everything they make is going to go online. I just need a bit of flash to put the pictures in and take the pictures out. I want an online portfolio for all my stuff. It's for indoor use. I'm not taking this on field trips. Children do go on field trips, but in a school year, that's a rare occasion. Most of the time it's in school, so it doesn't have to be ruggedized. It can be delicate, that's right, as long as I've got a simple case to put it in. And then it can be cheaper, can't it, please? And I want insurance. So if it breaks, I just buy another one. I want to see it as a consumable. Now, if you offered me that as a head teacher, I'd buy it for every damn kid in the school. And if I didn't buy it, the parents would. They're paying well over that for, very inferior things, devices. That's what I want. That's my thing. What happened beyond the pilot? What next? Well, we launched the full mobile Super Plus and Gold Star Cafe communities in my pocket at BET this year. And that will be open for all kids. We're working with Stelges, who have some very nice new generation hardware coming up, and proper browser, and affordable 3G, and Wi-Fi, and safe destinations. I'm not saying they're the only people doing this, but they are doing it, and we're very pleased with that. So it's happening. Final word I will leave to one of our children, and some of those of you who came to join me earlier on in the week will have met this little girl, Emily Sanderson, who's 10 years old. I call her Homo sapiens continuus, meaning the connected ape. This child is slow. She says at school, I'm slow. This is a real child. That's not a real name. At school she says, I'm slow. I like to do things easier than other kids. I like to take my time. But we've watched this kid online along with 80 other children that we've studied very carefully. And she's an absolute hurricane. She sends 5,000 emails a year. She visits her homepage 9 times every single day to make little changes, and she's fantastic. And she says, I do Superclubs Plus on my Tendo DS Lite and my PSP and my mobile, because I want to text and email my friends, do the forums, and get Active Club, that's one of the learning channels on there, and not miss any hot seats, that's when the kids interview authors and stuff online. And I want to do my home pages every day wherever I am, says M. So thank you from M, and thank you from me. Thank you very much.